Hello guys, welcome to a new Command & Conquer 0 Hour Rise of the Reds video. I'm not alone here, I'm here with Timo.
Hi there.
And this time we'd like to show you the units of the GLA and also the general powers and the units that come from the general powers. One thing that's important is that a lot of the buildings of the GLA are tunnel systems. That means you can load units in them and then you can unload them somewhere else. Basically all unit producing buildings are tunnel systems, except for the airstrip, but I'll come to it later. The rebel got changed a little bit. It can place booby traps if you have researched the improvised explosives, and it can change to Molotov cocktails against garrisons. It looks like when one of the people in the mob throws the Molotov cocktail. Then there's the tunnel defender. It stayed basically the same, but because of the upgrade in the black market, the camouflage, it can get cloaked while walking and standing, like the rebel also does. Then there's this cool unit. It's called the driving washing machine of death, and it explodes when it hits an enemy. Funny about that thing is that in Germany, in the Command & Conquer version, it was forbidden. Thank you, Timo. It was forbidden, and then they changed it to this thing because it was when it was released, it was the time of the war in Iraq, and because this game was too close to reality, they made it super stupid and named all the infantry units cyborgs, and added these funny little bombs that drive on 4 wheels. I never use them because they look so stupid. Maybe I can get me an uncut patch and then it'll be better probably. Then there's the mob. You already know the mob. It basically is still the same, I think. And the hijacker is also the same, but you have him from the beginning, and when it stands, it cloaks, and when it walks, it isn't cloaked anymore. Then there's German Cal. He got changed a lot. He cannot shoot units out of tanks, but he can now suppress enemies. That means also structures. That means that he shoots on them, and then they get suppressed. They get stunned, for example. And he can also shoot a Stinger missile, which kills aircraft instantly. And when there's more on one spot, then it can destroy more aircraft. So he's pretty good against helicopters and sniping enemy aircraft from the airfield and so on. He can of course still snipe infantry with his normal rifle.
Do you want to shout it now or later?
Yeah, I just showed it a little. Then let's come to the arms dealer. It's basically the same unit, but it can, as the barracks, also load in and load out units, and it builds all of the GLA vehicles. Let's start with the Scorpion tank. It's, where is it? Here. It's basically the same unit as it is in 0 Hour, but it looks a bit better now. Does still have that rocket, can be upgraded by scavenging parts, and another upgrade here makes it shoot Akit or Anthrax, I think it's called. This Toxin tank, still the same, can be upgraded, can shoot toxin and so on, contaminate an area, as you know. Then these bikes, you can swap the people on the bikes like in the normal 0 Hour, and they are also stealth while moving, and that's pretty cool because of the upgrade camouflage. It also counts for them, and they don't start with a rebel as in 0 Hour. They start with a tunnel defender now, which makes them pretty good against air targets and tanks, but they are still weak because they don't have much health, as you see.
Wir haben einen Krieger verloren.
That's quad cannon. It's still the same. Can also upgrade by scavenging the enemy. Battle bus also the same. Can also be upgraded by scavenging parts. And the buggy got changed a little. It's still fast and can shoot rockets, but it can also switch to the mortar mode. And then it does get a mortar that's pretty good against ECM and against Paladins and Bradleys, because the mortar cannot be destroyed in mid-air. It's also better for hit and run tactics, because you can shoot and drive away, shoot and drive away. Then there's the BM-21 Grad. You get that unit if you upgrade the assault tactics. And in the future all these units will be divided by generals. I mean in the future version of the mod, in 2.0 I think. And then you will not be able to use that BM-21 Grad unless you have a specified general for it. Yeah, it shoots a lot of rockets and is a very good artillery unit. You can also switch to sustained fire mode, which makes it shoot only a few rockets, like the Buratino from Russia can. Then the technical stayed technically the same. And the Marauder tank is also the same. You can also scavenge parts and then get upgrades, get a twin cannon and so on.
I think you forgot one thing by the BM-21.
Yeah.
He does splash damage. That's really good if many tanks or infantry is attacking you.
Yeah, that's right. For example, the how's it called? The rocket buggy doesn't do splash damage and is better against defensive stations and not as good against units as the BM-21 Grad, because it does a lot of splash damage. And you can destroy tank columns like a nuclear cannon can. And let's go to the observation van. It's a scout unit. You can build it at the hideout. That's basically the standard start building, like the region command for the ECA. The hideout is for the GLA. There's a stealth bomber, okay. But they can, if you upgrade them, they can detect stealth units. And there's another upgrade option for them. I'll come to that later. And they basically have a huge sight range and can use, when you have one of them you can use that ability, observation scan. When you have a lot of them you can use it more often. That's good when you would like to use your general powers and want to see where the enemy units are and so on. Then the demo truck, still the same, can cloak as an enemy, does have two different loads which you can upgrade to. But one thing changed when you let the one with toxin explode. Then there's a rack of it, and it does produce toxin all the time unless you destroy it. Until you destroy this. And you only get the bomb truck when you use the high explosive cages as a general power. You also get that unit if you use that general power, and it can lay demo traps while moving and place them pretty fast. As you see, I already placed a lot of them. And then they just throw them out of the back of the car, which looks pretty cool. And they lay there like barrels, and you can let them explode if you want, or wait till the enemy walks on one of them. The Ural is the heavy anti-air unit of the GLA. It is cloaked, as you see, otherwise his tanks would have killed them. And it's only cloaked when it is deployed, and it shoots long-range rockets. I think, yeah, that's the observation band with the other upgrade. You only get that when you have the rank 5. It's called I don't know, something with Scrambler. GPS Scrambler, yeah, and then it cloaks all units around it. There's also a building you get when you make this, that's the GPS Scrambler station. It also does have an ability to stun enemy vehicles, like EMP would in a huge radius. They are very good for defense, and it cloaks your whole base. To the buildings there's instead of the tunnel system, this tunnel system does not have a machine gun anymore. Now there's the Dushka nest, which is basically some kind of MG nest. And it shoots rounds that are also pretty good against tanks if you made the armor piercing rounds upgrade, as you may see now. Thank you, Timo. Yeah, they are pretty good. And also good against all kinds of aircraft. But not, no, it's good against helicopters, infantry and vehicles, but not that good against tanks and fixed wing air. The Stinger sight is good against fixed wing air. Something important that GLA does not have, it does have the hideout, but more important is the, how is it called? The mobile command center. You can deploy it and then you get radar, and you also get the abilities from it, except for those, because I get those from the airstrip, I think. Yeah, as you see. And you have to take care of that unit because it's it gets destroyed very often because it doesn't have that much health. And it's also part of the tech tree. I'll come to that later. Let's go on with the planes and so on. If you chose to go for this 3-star tree, then you'll get the Interceptor, which is a little plane that can shoot with its machine gun. And if you upgrade, if you go for another point there, you get the weapon upgrade for it, so it can change to RPG rockets. And it does some kind of strafe runs, which is not that strong against tanks. Oh shit, but pretty good against infantry and, for example, artillery or something. It's very cheap and it doesn't have that much health. It's not a game changer unit, but it's pretty cool to have. Then there's the Gazelle. It's a light helicopter, does also not have the best weaponry. You can upgrade it with anti-air rockets. It does already have norm rockets, and you can upgrade it with rockets that can shoot air and ground, or with toxin sprinklers, and then it can spread toxin in an area, as you see here. Pretty good against infantry, as you see, and they're also pretty cool because the enemy does not think that you have aircraft when you play as GLA, and will often just not take anti-air with him, and then you can do some kind of counter-attacks with your air units.
As you see here, also the toxin makes also good damage against tanks.
Yeah. Let's come to the buildings, to tech tree.
Wir haben einen Krieger verloren.
You have two different tech buildings. The black market, which you can build after you build the arms dealer. There are important upgrades, and then you can make the escalation. That's another upgrade here, which stealths the command center, and then you can build the chemical lab, which gives you even more important upgrades. And the black market is the only building where you can get money. You have to upgrade this 3 times, then you get more money from the black market and more money from units you kill. And that's the problem with GLA, because you can only build one of them. You need to kill the enemy to get money, and in the late game you may have problems if the enemy does have more money.
Supply drop zones and shit like this.
Yeah, for example. Yeah. Now, the general powers. If you build the airplane, you get a super cool ability called Overwatch, where suicide planes attack the enemy in the area. And Timo, where have you moved your tanks?
you destroyed my tanks, but I'm gonna give you.
Maybe I just put it on your buildings in the middle. I think it'll
Oh,
also
yeah.
work. As you see, there's the count of how many there will come. It's the first one. Okay, maybe it's something different. I thought it was. Yeah, it's the count. That is just super cool. And then there's the Anthrax bomb, basically the same. Deals damage to, especially to infantry and vehicles if they don't move. And has a huge area, as you see. It's perfect for locking down the whole area or killing Chinese hackers if they're not secured somewhere. And of course the Scud Storm, which is, as you know, the Scud Storm, and is pretty strong. Then there's the diverted supply drop. You get it from the airfield on level 2, and it gives you money, extra money. That's pretty nice for the GLA. I think that were basically all the units and buildings. Do you think I have forgot something, Timo? Or?
And I think there's a building forgot who's like the radar car.
Right, the GLA, the Scrambler station. Already talked a little bit about it, yeah. You can unlock it with this GPS Scrambler point, and then it cloaks all units and buildings around it, which is pretty cool. I'm not even sure if it cloaks. Yeah. Okay. Then I hope you enjoyed the video and have a great day.
See you soon.
Yeah, here you can see the
Wir haben einen
overall
Krieger
in action.
verloren.